Well, I had I had a moment today where I was like, I don't know if this is just my own pessimism or if this is what it's like for everyone, but I just had a moment today where I was talking to a friend and we were talking about antibiotic resistance, and because they work in a hospital. I don't know how much you know about antibiotic resistance, but it's not good. That's the
So
short
wait,
version. That's the
you've
short
got
version.
antibiotics, which are good for you,
Yeah,
and then
that's
you
good.
got
And then resistance to
what's
that.
this against
Resistance to
that?
that. And that's bad. Yeah, that's the long and short of it, mate. That's the technical version.
That's terrifying.
Now let me move on to explaining the tides. No, uh, but I just had this. I don't know. We're just talking about sort of nuclear war and the geological record, and we just ran through like he was talking about antibiotic resistance. So I was like, oh yeah, I was kind of sipping my coffee, and then I just started running through like three or four other, sort of end of end of civilization as we know it scenarios after
Yeah,
that, that are all
yeah.
seeming increasingly likely, where I'm like, oh, well, I don't know, mate. I don't know whether that's the one that's going to get us. You've got, climate change, obviously, climate crisis.
Yep.
You've got the uh, nuclear threat, we've still got those nukes out there.
Still got a few thousand of them kicking
Yeah.
around. Yeah.
We got the increasing risk of a global pathogen, like another, some other pathogen, like that roulette wheel's just spinning at all times. The viral one, that's just.
Sure.
You've got obviously Aerosmith returning in superhuman form.
You said they were getting increasingly more likely, so we got that makes sense. We got
Yeah.
Aerosmith coming back in nuclear powered,
Yes.
nuclear man style from Superman for Quest for Peace.
Yes.
I am Aerosmith.
Exactly.
Now.
That is exactly the image I was thinking of. The Sun
am
Man. What was that guy? The Sun Man.
I
I gotta watch that movie again.
don't want to miss a thing.
I just remember he had the power to like grow his nails at will, which is like the kookiest superhuman power.
It's actually a hilarious story because it was one of those like producers moments where they almost wanted it to tank, man. Like, and it's so bad. Like the movie's so bad. And you're right, they are falling from the sky, fighting each other, even though they can both fly, but they're choosing to fall from the sky together, right?
Yeah.
And he goes to scratch him, but before he goes to scratch him, he does a little twinkle thing with his hands and grew these massive nails.
Yeah. Pretty good power.
I am nuclear man. I have the power of the sun, and I can grow my nails really quickly.
Everyone involved in that production seemed to be phoning it in so hard.
100%. It's corny. It's one of the corniest movies ever made. And it's still hilarious.
I loved it when I was a kid.
Yeah,
I
it's
loved
still
that
great.
fight.
Watch it again. You can laugh every second.
I really remember the bit where they drill Superman into the dark side of the moon, where he drills Superman into the dark side of the moon, like under the. Or is it the other way around? Does Superman drill Nuclear Man to the dark side of the moon? Maybe
I can't remember.
That's how it happens. One of the two. I think it might be Nuclear Man because he like drills him into the shadow side of the moon, and then he can't
Superman
power up.
Out.
He can't power up anymore though. Nuclear
and then
Man.
the sun hits
then
Clark
the sun hits
again,
it.
and he butzes out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
That is good stuff.
But with the nails thing, like, can he retract them? Like, does he have somehow conscious control of the growth rate of his nails?
Can he bring them back down like Wolverine, or does he have
like,
to, like?
I mean, how annoying would it be if you like, and your nails grow, and then you've got to go clip them,
or he could heat vision them off. He'd just zap them off with his eyes.
Oh yes, maybe he bites them off like a gross, gross dude. Like he just chews on them.
Yeah, but he's not chewing on them. He's feasting on them at that point. He gets a whole couple of meals out of it. Yeah. No, it sounds pretty economical to me. I don't think you can really fault the guy. Being very economically friendly for a nuclear man.
From memory, that was Lex Luthor's. He was like a sort of Frankenstein-ish creation of Lex Luthor, right? He plucked a hair from Superman.
So he cut the hair of Superman that was holding up a 10,000-ton
yes.
thing. He cut the Superman hair with scissors.
Yeah.
So this thing that's supporting 10,000 tons found its breaking point at the hands of these office work scissors. Anyway, so he clips it. He gets the DNA of Superman at that point. I think that was the point. And then either he tricks Superman into throwing all the nukes of the world into the sun, giving birth to Nuclear
Yes,
Man,
that's right. It was like a Cold War era, like happy parable, right? He like
or he
solved
was
the Cold
collecting.
War.
Superman was just rushing around collecting all the world's nukes and putting them in a big net.
Yeah, it's a big net. Yeah.
And then he flung the net at the sun, which I guess he thought was a good idea, but he produced Nuclear Man potentially.
Right, right.
So maybe Lex put the hair inside a nuke. I don't fucking know.
Do you think the Russians were on board with Superman, who's so clearly like associated with America? Like he's not, he grows up in Kansas. He's not like a Russian. He's not an Earth figure. Like he's growing up, he's very American.
Sure.
Were they happy with him coming and just unilaterally taking all their nukes? I imagine they probably weren't.
Probably not is the short answer.
Right.
But he wasn't really giving them a choice, right?
Right. So he's a bit like a god. He's a bit like an unaccountable deity, just meddling
this is for
in
your
human
own good.
affairs. Yeah.
I've decided this is for your own good. Continue killing each other with your small arms. I'll be back.
Exactly. Your small arms. Yeah. I've got a haircut to get. How does he get his haircut? Why was there one hair? Did it fall out? I guess it could have fallen out.
That's a good question. Where did they get the hair from? And it looked quite long actually.
Yeah, it was long.
Was he growing a mullet at some
That
point?
was Superman's hippie phase in the 70s. He went a bit wild there. He did have pretty what's his name? Christopher Reeves did have pretty good, like he had a bit of a bob, I think.
Yeah, he had great hair for Superman. He looked like a comic book.
He had that cowlick, the thing at the front. So maybe that's where it came from because that's really long. That's curly.
Only Superman had the cowlick. Didn't Clark Kent like nerd him up a bit more? Like wasn't the cowlick specifically reserved? So when he gets into this phone booth, when he gets changed really quickly by spinning.
Yeah, that's true.
He's also doing his little hair thing.
Yeah, that's true. Sure
that's perfectly in posy for when he sees Lois Lane because she can't tell the difference. Even though she basically fucked him.
She's face blind. She's face blind. She can't see anything. She just sees a blur.
Well, it's perfect person for Superman then.
So hang on. So yeah, that's right. So Gene Hackman, aka Lex Luthor, steals the hair from the museum, holding up a big weight. Who's going to see that, by the way? Like, what a boring display. I'd be like, oh, well, I know Superman's strong. I saw him, like, I don't know, level a skyscraper the other week. Like, his hair's not that exciting. Turn on the news, man. Like,
well, obviously, it's the hair holding up the 10,000 tons that's exciting. It's like, wow, it can hold. How much can your hair hold?
True. That's true.
Fuck all is the answer to my hair.
Maybe like 1 kilo if you're really if you're using a lot of shampoo and stuff. Anyway, so
shouldn't Clark be like shaving his head for like charity, right? And creating like the
super strong like materials.
Yeah, maybe to like make a net out of. I don't know.
Yeah,
so you can put a bunch of nukes in it.
Well, you'd think so, but
he's keeping all the hair for himself because he needs the quiff.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, so he gets the hair and then he uses that DNA. And then can you remember how he made the Nuclear Man?
Well, like I said,
he steps out of like a smoky, he does like a kind of 1930s style, mad scientist thing, doesn't he? And he steps out of like a kind of smoky fog machine room from memory.
Okay,
is that right?
I'm gonna try and find the plot because I'm actually struggling.
Yes.
By the way, Lex Luthor in that movie, he actually refused to shave his head. He wanted to have a head of hair. So he just said, "Look, I'm fucking up otherwise," and they just went, "All right, don't worry about it."
No, it was
okay. So how does it work? Lex confers with black market arms dealers disgruntled about Superman's actions, wanting to rearm the country with nuclear warheads, and makes a deal for them to attach the hair to a nuclear missile. After the missile is test launched, Superman intercepts it and throws it into the sun. So he does trick Superman. Oh. So instead of launching a nuke at the sun with Superman's hair on it, which he absolutely could have done because that did work.
Yes.
You have to trick Superman into doing it for you. So
in the process of Superman saving the Earth, he actually brought about its potential demise by unleashing Nuclear Man.
Nuclear Man.
Nuclear bombs were gone. Nuclear Man was here.
Yeah, so we did away with nuclear bombs and we created the Nuclear Man. and
Right.
he made his way back to Earth to find his father, Lex, who establishes that while his creation is powerful, he will deactivate without exposure to sunlight.
Yes. I mean, famous Achilles heel of every supervillain is just, showing immediately how you can defeat them.
By the way, Superman, who up until this point I was pretty sure he only had kryptonite to worry about,
Yeah.
was infected with radiation sickness
Oh, that's right.
caused by a scratch from nuclear. I'm reading this off the page. Nuclear Man's radioactive claws.
They weren't claws, they were fingernails. I remember. He just needed a petty or a mani or whatever it is.
Nuclear Man kicks Superman into the distance with such strength that Superman's cape falls off. Who gives a fuck?
Oh, doesn't he use the cape for some wacky? Is that this movie where he does something special with the cape? Maybe I'm remembering that wrong.
Well, it says here that Lois Lane angrily seizes Superman's recovered cape. I'm picking up your shit.
No, I'm sick of cleaning up after you. Yeah.
Lois ventures to Clark's apartment where she proclaims her love for Superman.
Oh.
Felled by radiation sickness, Clark staggers to his terrace where he retrieves the Kryptonian energy module and attempts to heal himself from radiation sickness caused by the radiation claws. Jesus Christ.
No, they had a lot of problems on this set. Clearly, there was a troubled production. I can tell.
And at the end, Lex goes to prison. So good.
Oh.
All's well in the world.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Job done. Sorry, everybody, about the Nuclear Man.
Yeah, exactly. He's in one of those Supermax monstrosities in America somewhere where you can't see sunlight, for your entire life. Does it have a section on there that, says anything about the development or production? Because they're always a grey area.
Absolute nightmare.
It's an absolute train wreck.
It was a nightmare, apparently. Real bad.
Does it have any, are there any choice Wikipedia?
I'll have a look in a sec, but check this out.
Okay.
Nuclear Man did exactly 3 things on his IMDb page, right?
Mm.
Quest for Peace, number 1. I'm Nuclear Man. Don't even know if that's his real voice. Then he played a guy in a TV series for 1 episode of Wise Guy. I don't know what that is. It's a 1988 TV series. And then he had 3 credits in Alaska Kid. Oh no! So he didn't do anything after.
What was his role in Alaska Kid? Was he the Alaska Kid, or was he?
It says he was the Alaska Kid.
Oh, okay,
but
he's got the lead role.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess he was pretty big. He was the Alaska Kid. There you go. Who knew?
Right. I did not know he was the Alaska Kid. That's for sure. Didn't even know there was an Alaska Kid. I think we can. Yeah, I think you could probably safely infer from that. Nuclear Man bombed his career, I mean, I guess I don't know that much. I don't know Hollywood. I don't know how this all works, but to go from Nuclear Man to the Alaska Kid, that's... Did he de-age? Did he de-age? How does he go from being a man to a kid? What happened?
I think it's like a Billy the Kid thing.
Oh, he's like a grown kid.
He's not a real kid.
He's not a real kid.
He's like, it's like ironic. Like Little John's a big guy, and the Alaskan Kid is an old man.
Yes.
Hey, so it says here, that there was 45 minutes of footage that has never been seen by the general public.
Wow, that's a gold mine.
They were deleted following a failed Southern Californian test screening. In fact, the Nuclear Man that appears in the film is actually the second Nuclear Man that was created. Cutscenes from the original Nuclear Man, portrayed by a different guy, who must have been just completely cut, engaging Superman in a battle outside the Metro Club and being destroyed by Superman. So Superman kills the first Nuclear Man. So what? Okay.
This is the grassy knoll of Superman lore. This is like there was a second shooter. There was a second Nuclear Man. Okay.
Okay, so the first one was meant to be sort of Bizarro Superman, but like Bizarro,
right?
Which is a different guy apparently.
But that's an actual character, right, in the Superman universe?
Yes.
I don't actually know that much about Bizarro. He seems like a bit of a cop out. Like he seems like one of those ideas that you get in the comic books world where it just seems like someone was phoning it in, or like, you know what I mean? Like
They
they're just like,
literally do everything in every comic, though. Like every single scenario, they're covered.
yeah.
Every single thing, they've done a book on that.
And
You
definitely
know,
the bizarro characters, right? There's always like
of
the
course, the
antithesis character.
reverse. Yeah,
Yes.
it's pretty lazy. You're right. It's like let's just reverse the character and then say we've done heaps of stuff.
Yeah.
But they just make so much fucking stuff that it just happens.
Yes.
Um,
I mean, I know they made a communist Superman. I don't know much about it
oh,
though.
okay.
Yeah, it was like um, Superman, but if he'd landed in Stalinist Soviet Union.
Yeah, badass.
So
Is
he's,
is this a recent movie?
I think it was a comic that like a '90s comic maybe, and then they made it into like one of those animated
Oh, cool.
movies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure,
yeah.
sure, sure.
Red Sun. It's called Red Sun.
Fascinating.
Yeah, but I don't know enough
On
about it.
Netflix.
Oh, is it? Oh, great.
I don't know because I think I've started watching it or watched it.
I think I started watching it too, and then I was like, wait a minute, I don't care about Superman.
Yeah, what am I watching this
What
for?
am I doing this for? I was
Of
like
course, for peace,
mildly,
Mr. Bomber. But,
yeah, yeah.
who cares?
I care about Nuclear Man now. I kind of want to go back and watch that, but I don't care about Superman.
Yeah, they could remake Nuclear Man today and it'd be absolutely fine. People would get on board. Just
Mm.
bring back the original Nuclear Man. That would be actually the Alaskan Kid.
Yeah,
Bring him back.
absolutely. Like, I mean, Nuclear Man is kind of camp in my memory. Like, I think he'd go great now. Like, he had that really sort of quite ostentatious, like gold and that like gold trimmed lycra bodysuit.
Oh, you like all that? Yeah,
And
okay.
we've already talked about him doing the fabulous nails. Like, he's almost he's quite camp, which I like. Superman was never doing that.